んにちは、ワインワットの鈴木です。今日はですね、またちょっと変わったところからお話をさせていただくんですけれども、なんとですね、ポルトガル大使館からですね、ミゲル・マリェロ・ガルシアさん、経済参事官というですね、方に来ていただいて、ちょっとポルトガルのお話をお伺いしたいなと思っております。よろしくお願いいたします。今回ワインをご提供いただいているんですけれども、合わせてですねビラモーラというですねこちらお店にお邪魔をしております。ビラモーラさん、これ銀座のですね拝明小学校の前あたりですね、みゆき通りのところのにあるポルトガル料理屋さんにお邪魔しておりまして、そちらでも出されているワインですね。それでまずはカーザ・エルメリンダ・フレイタスというですねワイナリーのワインのお話をさせていただきたいなと思っているんですが、場所から行きましょう。ここがリスボンというポルトガルの首都ですけれども、地図で言えば右下の辺りに行ったところにあるセトゥーバルっていうワインの産地がありまして、そちらのところで主にワインの拠点があるというようなワイナリーさんなんですけど、さっきお伺いしたらですね、1920年に設立されてまして、これ輸入されてるですね新井昌司さんの方も1920年創業というようなことでですね、絵本みたいな会社のお話出されてるんですけど、こちらのワインもこんな特殊パッケージで100周年記念モデルっていうのが出ているというようなものなんです。見た目がね、これはちょっと違って限定版で一般には売られないらしいんですけれども、こうすごい木箱に入っていて、なんかこんな感じですね。すごいですね、特殊パッケージになっているんですけれども、中はこちらのワインが入っているというようなことです。これ赤ワインですね。ボナ・エルメリンダという名前のワインです。リスボンの近辺というとイメージとして一番あるのが酒精強化ワインですね。これがそうなんです。まさにモスカテルっていう風に言うワインです。こういうそのアルコールを強化したワインっていうのがやっぱり日本で一応有名だと思うんですけれども、こういうね赤ワイン、白ワインっていうのも作られていて、ちょっとそのあたりをですねガルシアさんにですねお伺いしたいなと思うんですけど。So first of all, I would like to ask you about your profile or your background. So where you connect to the wine?
My first, second job, I was responsible for. I was director of the marketing and PR department for the Port Wine Institute in Porto. So for some years, I was responsible for developing campaigns, umbrella campaigns, that then the companies would benefit from. I lived 2 times in the US, 8 years first, 5 years afterwards. Then I lived in Holland, Berlin, Paris, and especially in Holland and Berlin we did some wine promotion, Portuguese wine promotion, always from more umbrella perspective, that then the brand names, then the company, then they can benefit. We create some space and then they follow. So on top of that, I really love wine. I tend to do tastings, go places. Every time I travel, I try to get acquainted with, if they are a producer of wine, I try to get acquainted with their wines, and so I really, that's my connection with wine. Yes.
You are now a 経済参事官. So what kind of job and what kind of work you are doing now?
Okay. So I've been in Japan now for 4 years, and initially I was responsible for investment, meaning I worked with many Japanese companies that when they have to look at European investment, it's Europe but you have many countries, so you have to decide one. So I positioned Portugal for investment as an alternative for investment. And so that's what I did for the first 3.5 years. Now I'm responsible for everything, meaning I have to deal with investment, but I also have to do with promotion of Portuguese exports to Japan, a little bit like Jetro. And so one of the areas is wine, and wine is one of the sectors where we have more demands from our Portuguese clients. They want to come to the Japanese market, they would like to export, some of them they would like to expand, they are already present, they would like to expand their presence. So we try to advise them, we try to help them. So that's one of the things I'm doing now. Of Of course, I also support other products, footwear, textiles. It depends. It's a wide range of products, but for sure, wine is one of the main areas for us.
So in Portugal, wine industry is a large industry, or how about that?
Well, when you look at wine in Portugal, you can go back to Roman times. The centuries we because of the weather, and so you have a lot of native grapes varieties.
250 varieties now.
Yes, exactly. So it might be a little bit confusing even for us. So of course, one of the products that also positioned Portugal in the international markets was is Vinho do Porto, port wine. Port wine was the first DOC, which means demarcated region in Europe.
In Europe?
In Europe, maybe in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, because at the time the port wine became quite famous because you had Napoleon in Europe, the famous Bonaparte. Okay, and the British used to drink a lot of Bordeaux.
Yeah.
But with the war, they stopped buying Bordeaux, and there was some British people in Portugal that they were doing mainly textiles business, but they saw an opportunity to export wine as an alternative source supplier from Portugal. The thing is, some of the wines they had to go by boat. They didn't travel very well, and so they did adding wine brandy to the wine they were exporting, and that's how they came up with the port wine. Okay, and so then port wine became quite famous. The thing is, success sometimes brings problems. Some people were so successful, they started blending wine, and so quality became sometimes a problem. And so the Portuguese king and the prime minister at the time, they created a region with very strict rules, and then they did a demarcation. Actually, you can still find stones in the region setting up the limits of the region. Okay, they are still there. So
it's still there.
They are still. You can still find them. So this is how some of the products became more famous. In the last, then we always had plenty of wine. Actually, in terms of wine per capita, especially table wine, still wine, per capita worldwide, we are number one.
Oh, really?
Yes. We drink a lot of wine. And so there's a culture of wine that it's very much in our culture, for sure. Yeah.
So port wine is one of the three major fortified wine in Portugal: Madeira, Porto, and this one,
Moscatel.
Moscatel. For us, for Japanese, so Moscatel is very famous, or sometimes people know about this one or Setúbal.
Yes.
So our image is Moscatel, the production area, origin of Moscatel.
Yes.
Also, I'm a little bit surprised about these still wines in here. So I think this is wine style is more than Alentejo or Eastern.
The Setúbal region, which actually you have Setúbal and Palmela. It's two different cities, and they are part of the same kind of region. But there are two DOCs. These are two separate DOCs. The thing is, it's not an area where you have a lot of companies. It's more an area where you have major players, of which Ermelinda is one of the major players in the region. There are a few more that they are big companies, well known, and they have quite a wide range of wines in Portugal, and they are international companies because Ermelinda exports wines everywhere, and so do the other companies, a few other companies. Yes, they are quite active. They have international experience, and they have a wide selection of wine.
I am really shocked, or what I was surprised about is price. So this is just in Japan. This is 1,300 yen, and this one is also. So you said so Portuguese drinks a lot of wine.
Yes.
That is something that influence about the price that we should do.
It's quite interesting. The Portuguese market, and now I'm talking just about the Portuguese market, consumption in Portugal, has changed quite a lot. Because first, the quality of wine improved significantly. You have in the last 20-25 years, first it started in the vineyard. There was more qualified people dealing with the vineyard, which is the product, the basic product. It's very important for the wine. And then you have also a new generation of winemakers of high quality. They have some of them, they studied abroad in Bordeaux, California, Australia. Then they went back to Portugal, and so they have a new mindset of how to do wine, but respecting the Portuguese native grape varieties, and trying to get the best out of the grapes. So it's in some areas where you can do more volume, and Ermelinda and some of the other players in Setúbal, because there are not too many companies, so it's also for them easier to have some vineyards for small production, but also they can also have volume.
Looking at the grape variety, so Castellón is one of the perhaps representative variety in Setúbal and Palmera.
And even in Lisbon too.
This one also making wine.
It's called Lisbon region.
Lisbon region.
Yes.
Yeah.
Castellón is quite famous.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Castellón has several other names, like Arinto. But the most common designations is Castellón for red, and Arinto for the whites in the region. Castellón is quite widespread in that area, for sure. Yes, it's one of the most.
One of the features of the Portugal wine is blending these varieties. So why they blend? How do you think about that? Why they blend the varieties, not the monovariety?
I think in the past, most of the vineyards, the grapes were all mixed. So
you were planted.
But they were planted and they were all mixed. So everywhere in Portugal. So they just harvested and they used the grapes to make the wines. Sometimes they had an idea of what kind of grapes. Then in the last maybe 30-40 years, they started separating the grapes. They replanted in some cases, or they started separating. The thing is, some of the grapes, they have characteristics. For example, one gives more color, the other one gives more volume, the other one gives more structure. So you tend to use the different grapes to find a balanced wine at the end. I think that's the main reason.
So for Portuguese, how do you, so they're interested in the variety, this is Arinto, this is something, or they don't care about the varieties, so they enjoy just wine.
To be fair, it's like this. Most of the people would select a wine more from the region, and so they already know the taste. They know, if you have a large number of people that then know the details of the grape varieties or not, maybe not. The sophistication of the market in Portugal also in the last 20-25 years improved quite a lot, because you also have you have the traditional and more the more international and big companies like you have in Japan, but you also have smaller producers that are making boutique wines, and they are doing experimentation, and so we also have that. So, and there's a lot of demand for those wines, even internationally. For example, some of the big wine destinations for Portuguese wines, the UK, Brazil, big consumers of Portuguese wine. So, and they also buy those wines. There's a demand. The US, there's a demand for those wines. Yes.
How about Japan? Japanese market.
Actually, I was surprised. You mentioned Beppu-san. Beppu-san usually organizes a yearly wine tasting in Japan, and not last year because because of COVID-19 he didn't organize it. But 2 years ago I went as a consumer. After hours, and I was quite surprised with the number of wines that already are present in the Japanese market, and you have a wide range of wines, really. Even biological wines that I didn't know from Portugal, I found them here. So I think the Portuguese wines are starting to get a little bit better known, but there's a lot of work to be done in Japan. To tell you the truth, I believe there's a lot of work with the companies like Raishoji that already imports wines to help companies to sell more, but also with newcomers that might be positioning in different segments for different outlets. There's a lot of work to be done for sure.
この新井庄司さんが輸入されているワインの中でもっと北の方ビーニョベルデの方のワインっていうのがあるんですね。でその辺のワインのお話とあとですねちょっとどんな風にワインを楽しんだらいいのか、おすすめなんかも、引き続きガルシアさんにお伺いしたいと思っております。というわけでですね次回もよろしくお願いいたします。というわけで、また、続きもお願いします。ワインワットの鈴木でした。